Remember, this is at a speed that it was doing when it was coming down the track. There was no difference in speed. It did not slow down from there to there to here to here. It was sprinting, and it came through and it went whack like that.
You physically felt the...
It went whack.
Yep.
So all I can think of is either it had a massive hand, but it felt more like a forearm, and it hit me from here to my right shoulder. Kabang! And all I knew is I went backwards, and I landed on the granite like it was a full. My feet left the ground, and I just landed flat on my back, on my shoulders, and I'm lying here. At this stage, it was over the top and it walked around over to this side. I'm lying here. I was absolutely terrified. I was absolutely beside myself. I was on my back and I'm arching my back and I'm kicking my legs up in the air because I didn't know what it was going to do. I didn't know whether it was going to pick me up or it was going to hit me or it was going to try and drag me. I just did not want to touch it. I didn't want to see it. I'm still looking down there screaming for help, and I'm rocking from side to side on my back. Just rocking from side to side because my legs, I'm trying to cover every angle that I could get. Because I didn't know which angle, it was so dark, I didn't know where he was now. All I knew was somewhere standing here behind me, and I didn't know where. So I'm kicking here, I'm kicking there, and I'm just trying to cover every possible angle. And at the same time, I'm coming around, I'm trying to hook, I'm busy yelling. At this stage, the flashlights were probably about there on the track, and the guys are coming down towards me. I was dazed, I was seeing stars.
And you're in a pool of water.
It wasn't until April that we came back here afterwards, and Steve and Chris said, no, we picked you up from, you were drenched in the water. I thought I was okay. I don't even remember being drenched. I mean, that's how...
Because I think there's a lot more water here, there's been a lot more rain.
So it's coming out here a bit.
So yeah, the water would have been out here more, and sort of out here more. So you're either here, or
Come around a bit. No, you.
You're either in a pool of water here, because I remember coming up here with one of the other blokes, and coming across here and shining our torches, and you were sitting in the pool of water. I think it was here, or maybe there, but I'm pretty sure it was there.
So with that, I'm lying on my back, head facing that way. For some reason, I thought he'd gone that way.
You didn't hear him, you just sensed that he'd gone that direction.
I thought he'd gone that way.
Yeah, that seems most logical if the guys are coming up the road here.
So when they got to me, I kept saying, he's gone that way, he's got to be that way, he has to be that way. What was I saying?
Yeah, you were pointing to the bush. That's what I remember. So we've gone into the bush. I thought you were sort of indicating towards that way. Now, so you were pointing towards that way. You were sort of sitting. I don't know. I think you were here, like that. Oh yeah. I remember you indicating into the bush. So I remember going into the bush that way.
Yeah. So that's right. So Chris picked me up and dusted me off. You went off with Neil. So he went round this way and up through here, which would have been the obvious exit for it. And then we caught up with you, myself and Mickey caught up with you and Neil
Up through here.
up through there, and we took the chute of it. And every time it looked around, wide eyes, blink, blink, nothing.
Okay, so you're up in that direction over there somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, so your camp's down in the opposite over here. So it's like a 90
It's like a really dull white glow, and you could get the shape of the eyes as well. They looked exactly, funnily enough, exactly the same as the cover of Out of the Shadows, Paul and Tony's book. Exactly the same shape of the eyes, and then blink, blink, while it's looking at us, and then turn round, dead black. Now, when it was looking at us and you see the eyes illuminating, there was no stars, there was no moon, thick cloud cover. You couldn't see this far in front of your face. For some reason, you still see the eyes illuminating.
With no illumination from any of your torches, nothing?
There was no torches. We didn't use torches. Nothing. So we followed it through there. After then, I don't know what happened. I was still just beside myself.
What happened, Steve? You went up there?
Went up there. For some reason I could not see what everyone else was seeing. As I think it's been detailed. And then we had trouble getting back to somebody back at base. So Neil and I trekked back and went back onto the road and went down to the base. And then Dean was still up here with Mika. You were still seeing it, weren't you?
Yeah, watching it, and it was watching us. At that stage, it had turned around, and it was like a Mexican standoff. It was watching us, we were watching it. It's like, well, it was like a saying, "Are you coming?"
And by this stage, I think Lisa had woken up.
So, in a nutshell, I mean, that's the briefest synopsis we can give you.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much matter of fact of how it happened. And without being here, you can't tell the story
as well.
So the beauty of doing this in the broad daylight is you can see clearly where everything was occurring. We won't be able to film such detail in night time.
Myself and Steve have sat here since then, and we've held our hands up literally in front of our faces. We couldn't see our hands.
Yep.
But you know, it was the speed of it. It was. I'm trying to find a better word. It was
Fluidity and the speed.
It was how deliberate its actions were.
Oh, did it change? You know, you just walking on the ridge towards the camp. Did it only change direction after you said, "I've got company"?
Yes.
Right. So you reckon it heard you then? Now it knew exactly where you were.
When it was walking along, it was blatantly obvious, and that's when I radioed down to Steve and I said, "Head count, or is everyone there?" And they said, "Yes, everyone's here." At that stage, I stood up, and as I stood up, I said, "Well, I've got company." By then, it was level with me, and it was at that point, it basically just went, and then sprinted.
Right. So I would have heard your radio. You on the radio? Okay.
But the smell. Why was it so pungent down here when it was up there?
Well, you'd think the smell would arrive, wouldn't you? Just with the drafts.
And afterwards, it took me probably a good 8 months to get a full night's sleep. There's too many questions going through my head. Oh, the other interesting aspect was when it was running, it made no noise vocally. Its diaphragm didn't bounce like you hear with the others, such as the one that chased me at Ormo. When it ran, on each step, the diaphragm would bounce, which would produce a deep grunt, and it would be yelling and screaming. None of that. It was just it running through the bush. Thunderous footsteps all the way down. Just like a sprinter. Direct path.
So it's interesting here because with air currents in valleys, the cooler air does descend, doesn't it? So you'd expect it to come down on either sides, plus it goes up that way for some reason, so it would be coming down this way as well. So you'd have a convergence of different airflows at any one time. And base camp is, what's the guess? 150 metres?
Yeah.
150 metres from here, that direction.
I wasn't impressed. But at the end of the day, it could have been a lot worse.